I rise in opposition to the amendment. I share a lot of the ranking member's concerns fundamentally about the countries named in her amendment and about the issue of proliferation. But there's sort of three different levels on which I think her amendment raises serious doubts and causes me to want to oppose it. The first is the assumption that withholding assessed contributions produces the actions we want. We've had test cases of this. Wouldn't it have been great if the money we withheld from the UN population planning account had stopped coercive abortions in China? Wouldn't it be great if the dues we are assessed to pay to the United Nations had resulted in the kinds of reforms that eliminated the questionable conduct that the minority rightfully points to? There's a real challenge to this assumption that the withholding is what achieves the goal. We can wish it a lot. It doesn't always happen. Secondly, there are some specific categories of programs here that are involved that should be mentioned because in some cases they make some sense. The technical assistance provided by AA is constructive and supportive of a number of humanitarian needs, such as the eradication of the tsetse fly in numerous African countries, the fruit fly in Panama, improving cancer diagnosis and treatment in Zanzibar, Niger, Mali, Zambia, and the Central African Republic, improvements in agriculture and groundwater tracing. These are the kinds of programs that are involved. Once in a while, there may be a project such as in Iran or Syria that may provide a small amount of useful experience in general nuclear science and radiology. But the most important part is to the extent that some of these programs are about enhancing safety. The U.S. is totally free on the board to vote against those projects at the Board of Governors and does so. The U.S. already denies extra budgetary funding for technical cooperation projects that are for state sponsors of terrorism, which the countries the gentlelady mentioned are. However, the proposed amendment mandates the withholding not of the voluntary contributions, not of the extra budgetary support, but of the U.S. regular dues to the IAEA. So what does it do? It hampers the agency's primary function, which is the inspecting and safeguarding of nuclear material in foreign countries. This is cutting off your nose to spite your face. The IAEA's Technical Assistance Program is funded entirely from voluntary contributions. The program that understandably concerns the gentlelady is not from the assessed contributions, it's from the voluntary contributions. The amendment is not focused on the voluntary contributions, it's focused on the assessed contributions. So what do? We'll end up cutting the funds that would otherwise be used by the IAEA to ensure that states are not diverting nuclear material from peaceful to military purposes. Pretty serious concern. Inspections that are in the direct national security interest of the United States. That's what we're cutting. So that's why I think the amendment, not by its intention and not even by its focus on these programs, we could live without those programs, but its focus on cutting the assessed dues to the most important functions for the United States of the IAEA makes no sense, and I urge a no vote.